If you had a time machine and could visit any prehistoric era, here's my advice. Don't choose the age of dinosaurs. Because at least with dinosaurs, you know what you're facing. Big, loud, easy to recognize. But in other eras, you wouldn't even know what's out there. These were predators you'd never expect. Bigger, scarier, more dangerous than anything you can imagine. Today, we're exploring prehistoric animals that were even scarier than dinosaurs. And before we start, make sure to subscribe. Long before dinosaurs ever walked the earth, the oceans were already ruled by something far more brutal, a creature called Dunkleosteus. It lived around 370 million years ago during the Devonian period, a time often known as the Age of Fish. And while it may have looked like a giant armored fish, what made it truly terrifying was its mouth. Like all placoderms, Dunkleosteus didn't have teeth, but instead, its jaws were made of solid, bony plates that formed massive, self-sharpening blades, grinding against each other every time it closed its mouth, and staying razor-sharp at all times. Its bite force has been estimated at around 1,000 pounds, strong enough to crush bone with ease, and comparable to the most powerful predators alive today, which meant it didn't need to tear or slowly hunt its prey. It didn't bite, it crushed. At full size, Dunkleosteus could grow anywhere from 3 to 8 meters long, and the largest species, Dunkleosteus torelli, was likely one of the biggest and most dominant fish of its time. It wasn't selective either, feeding on fish, sharks, and even its own kind, turning the ancient ocean into a place where nothing was truly safe. But even a predator like this couldn't escape what came next. Near the end of the Devonian period, Earth was hit by a series of massive extinction events that changed everything. Oxygen levels in the oceans dropped, climates shifted rapidly, and entire ecosystems began to collapse. Coral reefs disappeared, many fish lineages were completely wiped out, and by the end of it, around 70 to 80% of all life on Earth had vanished. Dunkleosteus, despite all its power, was among them, marking the end of the armored fish that once dominated the seas. And just when it seems like the ancient ocean could not get any stranger, evolution produced something even more unsettling: Edestus. Living roughly 300 million years ago during the late Carboniferous period, this predator looked less like a typical shark and more like a design that should not have functioned in any stable ecosystem. Instead of rows of replaceable teeth, Edestus developed long, serrated tooth whorls with V-shaped roots that stacked tightly together, forming curved structures that extended from both the upper and lower jaws. What makes this anatomy especially unusual is that its teeth never stopped growing. As new teeth formed, the older ones were pushed forward rather than shed, gradually creating elongated, blade-like arcs that projected outward from its mouth. Over time, this gave the impression that its jaws had become a pair of living cutting instruments rather than a traditional biting mechanism. Because of this, scientists believe its feeding strategy may have been very different from that of modern predators. Instead of relying on crushing force, Edestus may have used a scissor-like motion, snapping its jaws in a way that allowed it to slice through prey with surprising precision. Some reconstructions even suggest that it could deliver a vertical cutting motion, passing through soft tissue in a single controlled movement. What makes this animal even more compelling is how much remains unknown. No complete skeleton has ever been found, so much of what we understand comes from fossilized tooth structures alone. As a result, researchers are still uncertain about how its jaws aligned, how it processed food, and how it functioned in motion. That uncertainty makes it more unsettling, because the real animal may have been even stranger than current reconstructions suggest. The scary part is, even if you somehow make it past a Dunkleosteus, Edestus could take you out before you even know what hit you. While the oceans were busy experimenting with designs that don't seem real, land was perfecting other terrifying predators. Long before the first dinosaur ever existed, the land was already ruled by something just as dangerous, the Gorgonopsid. These creatures lived during the Permian period, around 260 million years ago, and they quickly became the apex predators of their environment. At a glance, they looked like a strange mix between a reptile and a mammal, with a low, powerful body and strong legs built for movement on land. But the feature that made them truly terrifying was their mouth. This prehistoric creature featured large incisors and upper canines that extended into saber-like blades, closely resembling the fangs of later saber-toothed cats. This design was built to pierce deep into the flesh and deliver fatal wounds instantly. They were not passive hunters. Fossil evidence suggests they preyed on large herbivores such as Scarier, a heavily built, armored plant eater that lived in the same environments, as well as other therapsids. This means they were capable of taking down animals close to their own size, relying on speed, precision, and powerful bites rather than brute force alone. Compared to earlier land predators, Gorgonopsid were more advanced in both movement and hunting strategy. Some species could reach up to 11 feet in length, with Inostrancevia being the prime example. Weighing in at around 660 pounds, their body structure suggests they were active predators, capable of chasing down and overpowering their prey rather than just waiting for an opportunity. Their long fangs likely played a crucial role in targeting softer areas of the body, allowing them to take down prey with ease. And this is where things start to feel familiar. The way they hunted and the way their teeth were designed shows early signs of predator strategies that would appear again millions of years later. And eventually, evolution brought that danger closer to our time. One of the clearest examples of that is Megalania, a giant monitor lizard that once lived in Australia and could reach lengths of up to 23 feet, making it the largest known land lizard in history. Like its modern relatives, Megalania likely didn't rely on raw strength alone. Studies suggest it may have had venom glands in its lower jaw, meaning a single bite was not just an attack, it was the beginning of the end. Instead of chasing its prey over long distances, it may have used an ambush strategy, striking quickly and targeting the legs to slow it down. Its prey included giant marsupials, such as Diprotodon, as well as several species of mammals that once lived in large numbers across Australia. Taking down something that big required more than size. It required patience, strategy, and a method that worked over time rather than in a single moment. What makes this even more unsettling is how recent it was. Megalania lived during the Pleistocene, and there is strong evidence that early humans in Australia may have shared the same environment with it. This wasn't some distant, unreachable past. This was a world that overlaps with our own history. And in many ways, its ecosystem may not have been that different from what we see today with Komodo dragons, where a single bite can decide everything, and the outcome just takes time. It is a quiet kind of danger, the kind you don't always notice right away. But even something this large wasn't the limit, because evolution didn't just create predators, it created giants. It didn't chase, it didn't roar. You wouldn't see it until it moved. In the thick, humid swamps of the Paleocene, around 60 million years ago, the water itself could be hiding something far larger than anything on land. No warning sounds, no dramatic moment, just a slow ripple, and then it was already too late to react. This was Titanoboa, the largest snake ever discovered. An adult Titanoboa cerahonensis could reach up to 43 feet in length and weigh anywhere from 1,600 to 2,500 pounds, making it far heavier than any snake alive today. But size alone was not what made it effective. Its entire design was built for ambush. The world it lived in made that possible. Back then, the region we now call Cerrejón in Colombia was a vast tropical rainforest, hot, wet, and filled with wide river systems. It was the perfect environment for a massive, semi-aquatic predator. Based on its size and habitat, scientists believe Titanoboa behaved much like a modern anaconda, spending most of its time in the water, waiting. Its diet likely included large reptiles, such as crocodile-like animals and giant turtles. It didn't need speed, it didn't need a dramatic attack. It waited in silence, struck at the right moment, and used its immense strength to overpower its prey. Once it had a hold, there was no struggle that could last long. And here's what makes this even more unsettling. Titanoboa was a cold-blooded animal, which means its body depended entirely on the environment to function. To support a body that could reach over a ton, it needed average temperatures of around 30 to 34 degrees Celsius. If the world was any cooler, it wouldn't be able to digest food properly and simply wouldn't survive. In other words, Titanoboa is proof that the Earth back then was far hotter than it is today. It didn't just live in that environment, it depended on it. In a way, Titanoboa is proof that nature once pushed size to a level that no longer seems possible. But not everything terrifying needed to be the biggest. Some of it was worse, because it was familiar. During the Carboniferous period, around 330 million years ago, the land was home to Pulmonoscorpius kirktanensis, one of the largest scorpions ever discovered, with some individuals growing over 28 inches long. That's not just big for a scorpion. That's big enough to stop feeling like an insect and start feeling like a threat. What makes it more unsettling is where it lived. Dense, humid forests, thick ground cover, the kind of environment where visibility is low and movement is quiet. This wasn't a creature you would spot from far away. It stayed close to the ground, hidden, moving through shadows where smaller animals had no time to react. Its size wasn't random. During the Carboniferous, oxygen levels were much higher than today, allowing arthropods to grow far beyond modern limits. In other words, the environment didn't just allow this thing to exist, it pushed it to become larger, heavier, and more capable than anything like it today. Pulmonoscorpius likely preyed on early amphibians and large insects, using its claws to grab and hold while its tail delivered a strike. And while we can't say exactly how strong its venom was, it didn't need to be extreme. At that size, even a single well-placed strike would be enough to completely overwhelm smaller animals. It didn't need to be the largest predator of its time, it only needed to be close enough. In the Carboniferous world of giants, it was the ultimate hidden nightmare. A prehistoric creature that proves size isn't the only thing that makes a monster. From armored hunters to silent ambush specialists, these creatures show how far evolution can go when nothing limits it. Different shapes, different strategies, but all designed for one thing: staying on top in their world. And the truth is, this wasn't some rare moment in Earth's history. This is what evolution does over time. It tests new ideas, pushes boundaries, and sometimes creates forms of life that feel almost unreal. So now I'm curious, Which one of these would you fear the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.